Hi there. My name's Alex Marr. I'm a real estate agent in Chicago. One question that buyers have often, especially first-time buyers, is what is earnest money? So, I will explain. You can think of earnest money like a deposit. It's basically a way of showing the seller that you're serious about buying the home and that you're going to follow through to closing. So, sellers tend to think if you have more money at stake, that they feel more secure. There's a better chance that you're going to actually execute the contract and make it all the way to closing. The more money a buyer puts down, the more secure the seller feels. But really, as a buyer, it is up to you how much earnest money you want to offer, and the seller is entitled to either accept, decline the offer, or counteroffer with an ask for more earnest money. Earnest money is just one part of your offer along with the sales price and the closing date. It tends to range anywhere from 1% to as high as 5% of the purchase price. So you can assume that as the price goes up, the more earnest money you're going to be paying. And keep in mind, when you're buying a home in an urban area like downtown Chicago, they tend to expect more than they do in suburban areas. So you're buying a $300,000 property, say downtown Chicago, the earnest money expectation might be, you know, $10,000, maybe even 15. But if you're buying in a suburb, they may be willing to accept earnest money as little as maybe $2,500, $3,000. So that's just one of the many differences between buying in the city versus in the suburbs. It's typically going to be given in the form of a check. The buyer writes a check to the brokerage that is representing the seller, and you hand that check either to your agent or sometimes even directly to the seller's agent. The check will be cashed and the money's held in a secure account until closing, and then your earnest money will be applied to what you owe at closing. So if you're making a $30,000 down payment, closing costs are $8,000, and you put down, $15,000 earnest money, then you'll only have to bring $23,000 to closing instead of 38. So really, they just deduct it from what you owe, and that's it. So, unfortunately, there is no clear, specific yes or no answer to this question. What I can tell you is it depends entirely upon the language in your contract and what the buyer and seller agree to. But if you, as the buyer, back out of the deal for a valid contractual reason, or if the seller backs out of the contract for some reason, then generally you will get your earnest money back. But if a buyer backs out of the contract for a reason that is not valid, you may not be able to get your earnest money back. Buyers can protect themselves through contingencies. So, two of the more common contingencies are going to be the inspection contingency and mortgage contingency. And so, what those do is you're adding a contingency to the contract that says if this doesn't happen, or if this does happen, then the buyer is entitled to rescind the contract. So an inspection contingency means that you, as the buyer, will have an inspection done by a professional. And if you are concerned by the results of the inspection and you just can't negotiate a solution, then the inspection contingency would allow you then to rescind the contract and get back your earnest money. Mortgage contingency, that's just saying that if the buyer's not able to get their financing secured, then the deal isn't going to happen and they should get back their earnest money. Sellers do have the right to decline offers with contingencies. So you can't always get all those contingencies in the contract. Sometimes, you know, especially in a seller's market, if the market's more favorable to sellers, you may not be able to get all those contingencies in the contract. You may, you may have to forego some of that to get your offer accepted. Do I recommend not putting those contingencies in, especially the inspection contingency? No, I would not recommend that you waive your inspection. Um, However, that is something that can be done. Again, I don't advise it. Know that contingencies have deadlines, and you definitely need to be aware of those deadlines and make sure you're meeting them, because if you don't meet those deadlines, then the contingency isn't going to do you any good. Sellers always have the discretion to refund earnest money if they want to. So even if the buyer breaches the contract, the seller could still say, it's okay, I'm just going to give back the earnest money because, you know, they're good people. So I'm just going to give their money back. They can do that. But if they don't want to, for whatever reason, that's when it becomes a legal dispute. It could end up with the courts having to decide. When there is a dispute over earnest money, your real estate agent, either side, buyer or seller, we cannot do anything about it. If the seller is insistent they're not giving it back, the buyer wants it back, all we can do is leave the money secured and wait for either both parties to agree on a solution or for a judge to issue an order telling us what to do with the earnest money. Earnest money disputes are legal issues, and real estate agents, while we do want to help our clients the best we can, we are not lawyers. So if you're ever unsure about contract interpretation, or if you want to make sure your contract is designed in a way that you're protected, you can and should consult an attorney before making any decisions or signing anything. There may be some real estate agents who are also attorneys, but I don't think that's very common. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. And please like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you have another question or a topic that you would like me to cover in another video, please comment and I'll take a look. All right. And if I can help you in any way with your home search or with selling a home or renting, please feel free to reach out. Okay. Bye.